Hi, I'm Becky. Today, I'm going to do a tell-all video. In the beginning, I promised to be completely transparent, completely tell all the stats. Today, I'm going to tell my weight, my measurement around my waist. I'm going to show you my mobility issues with my shoulders. I'm going to even try to do a little bit of a squat for you. And then we'll go from there. But let's start with the weight. That's the part I hate the most, so let's get that one over with. Normally for myself, I weigh first thing in the morning, take my shoes off because I don't need no extra added. But I weigh normally before I eat or drink anything. I get up, I go to the bathroom, go pee, come back and weigh myself in my nightgown. That's first thing in the morning is actually when you're supposed to weigh. I've been up for a while, drank some coffee, but I ain't videoing in my nightgown. All right. 213.6, I think it says. That's a bad number for me, but it is what it is. We're being transparent. Now, I brought out my handy dandy little sewing tape. And this is the number I actually care the most about. That number needs to come down too, the weight, but the actual measurement really matters more. And I really have a hard time. This is a mobility issue now. See, look here. Getting my hands to meet in the back, I have to get the tape back there. I'm stiff today. We're going to go overhead. This is mobility for me. Shit. I'm sorry. Here we go. That's a true mobility struggle for me. Can you get it? All right. Those numbers are not numbers that I love, but they are honest. I'll put this back in my pocket. Well, here, I'll lay it, toss it over there for right now. You don't want to watch me roll up. All right. My son was kind enough to make me a chart here. Here's my height. And I'm going to step up here close, barefooted, mind you. We did put a nice rug down here. Well, not really a nice rug, but a dollar store rug. And we see he marked me up here. That's how high I can reach with that arm. And we're going to do the same with his arm. And if you'll notice, there's quite a bit of difference there. But the difference in this arm, this injury. In my falling down phase, I had fallen in my garden. I was working in my garden. I fell down and I got tangled up into a T-post and took a really hard fall, broke the ball in my shoulder, uh, tore my bicep, tore my rotary cuff, had to have surgery to put it back together. When I first got out of the hospital, my hand would go about my belly button. That was as high as I could raise it. When they let me take physical therapy, I started out physical therapy. I could put my hand on the bottom and drive with this, because I drive myself to therapy. All my kids and husband and all, they all work. So I have to do that myself. So this is what I could do. When I first started physical therapy, put not even any here, just down at the bottom. By the time I was done with the physical therapy, insurance limits you to what you can have. I could do 10-2 on the car. That was it. Now, I put my hand on top of my head, a little bit higher than my head, not a lot, but every little bit, that's improvement. And I'm celebrating that. And I'm going to eventually get where I can stretch full out. This one I injured after my husband had his stroke in April. It was about 8 months-ish ago. He had, 7 months ago. He had the stroke, and when we were hauling our first load in our move to Florida. And we were driving, we were coming through Alabama, We were actually near Mobile, and he started kind of weaving. He was pulling a truck and a trailer, and I was in a truck and a trailer behind him, and he was like weaving all over the road. And I called him and I said, "Are you getting sleepy? Do we need to pull off somewhere?" He said, "I don't feel good." He said, "I don't know what's wrong. My one arm won't stay on the steering wheel. I am not okay." There was a rest area just like almost immediately. And I said, "Pull off at the rest area and we'll get out, walk around, and we'll see how you're doing." He's only 60. When he got out of the car, he pulled up and I pulled up straight behind him. And when he got out of the car, he just fell flat on his face. Well, he's bigger than I am by about 70 pounds, 60 pounds anyway. And so I helped him get up. We got over to a picnic table that was right there, called our daughter, she's a nurse, said, "This is what's happening. What's the deal?" She said, "Well, he's having a stroke. Get him to the closest emergency room, leave his truck there, just drive." He wouldn't. We had come from there. I want to show you before I sit down how I get on my bicycle. I do the bicycle. When we're not filming, I figure you don't want to watch me film riding a bicycle for 30 minutes. And that's what I'd shoot for. Now, this is difficult for me. My knee doesn't like that, but I do it because I need to sit down here and I need to ride my bicycle. And this is the bicycle we got when I broke my hip and I had to have rehab. I had a hip surgery, and the rehab guy suggested I do this type of bicycle. Not that kind. I wasn't allowed to be on that, but I needed one of these, so we bought it on Craigslist or Facebook or something. All of this comes from Craigslist, Facebook, or something. And I like to sit like this because it keeps my shoulders back. When I do this, I have to kind of lean forward. But if I sit with my shoulders back, that's better posture, and I can hold my head up. I don't have to reach forward. Now, my little trick for this, to keep me from getting too terribly bored, I have a tablet, and it has a little lip right here, and I put the tablet on the lip, and I pick a video that's about how long I want to ride. Say if I want to ride 30 minutes, I pick a 30-minute video, 10-minute video, however long I want to sit on this thing, I play the video. When the video is over, that means I can get up. But I'm not allowed to stop pedaling until the video is over. So that's just to make it a little more bearable because I think this thing is boring. But boring is still good for me, so I still do it. I don't love it, but I do it. Now I want to show you, before I sit down and we can talk things over, I want to show you the options on what I think are great weights. Water pound weight, that's the same exact, well, slightly higher, but it's the same as this weight. You don't have to go out and buy weights. You can use this. Everybody has water. Nowadays in time, we hardly ever drink water that doesn't come out of a water bottle. If not, get two and just keep refilling them. They're great. You can do any kind of weight where you would hold that, you can do this. We don't buy milk, so I don't have gallon milk jugs that have milk in them, but a gallon milk jug, you can start out with a little bit of water, add and add and add, and a full milk jug is about 8 pounds. So that's a good weight. I don't want that to roll off. This is 1 pound. These are 2 pounds. You just step it up. As you get stronger, step it up. Add more water to your milk jug. Whoops. Stay there, Miss Minnie. I have 5 pound weights. That's my next step up from the 2 pound. I don't have anything in between. They do make them between. But, again, use a 5 pound weight or add water to your jug. Works great. And it don't matter what brand, it don't matter what style, get what's happy to you. I have 5 pound like this, and I have 5 pound like this. Now, when I do my farmer's carry, I like the kettlebell because I'm swinging it against my leg, and sometimes I, like rub up against my leg. That's smooth, it's slick, it don't hurt. But I carry with, and I have 5, 10, and 15 just like this. And I also have 10s like this. And believe it or not, I don't know why, but these feel heavier than the others. And it's probably in my head. A lot of things are in my head, but again, a full milk jug is about 8 pounds. 2 milk jugs with the exact same amount of water in it works just the same. You can carry a 5-gallon bucket with sand in it. Get creative. You can carry a grocery bag with anything that's heavy, marbles, sand, rocks, anything you want to. Put a whole bunch of water bottles in one of the little tote bags. I don't have any out here, but one of the little tote bags, and carry the tote bags. Any way you can add weight works. Farmer's carry is anything that you're going to carry at your side and walk. Now, I watch the videos, and these nice, strong men and women have these huge kettlebells and weight systems where they're lifting, they call it lifting heavy. Well, you know what? Lifting 10, 15 pounds for me is lifting heavy. Lifting 1 pound might be lifting heavy for you, or you can do 100 pounds. Some of them big guys, they do hundreds of pounds. Great. You do what is your level. If you're, sorry, the wind is blowing and the building is rattling. If you do just enough to strain your muscle a little bit, not really strain, but stress your muscle a little bit, by stressing your muscle a little bit is going to make it stronger. And just keep adding. Doesn't have to be a big ad even. Just a little ad. Sorry, I'm sweating out here. A little bit of an ad at a time. Just like from the 1 pound to the 2 pound, that's still an ad. That still counts. If you're doing the jugs, the milk jugs, add 1 quart of water. A quart of water is 32 ounces. That's 2 pounds at a time. Or add a pint, which is 16 ounces at a time. You can just keep adding until you max out to where you want to be. I want to be where I can do truly heavy. I'd love to be able to kettlebell carry 50 pounds. When we were on the farm and I fed the animals, 50 pounds was very doable and done very often in a 5-gallon bucket or a sack of feed thrown across my shoulder. I couldn't get it off the ground now. But the more you do and you gradually build up without injuring yourself, the better. Now, we have, as you saw over there, various exercise equipment over there. The bicycle is the sit-down incumbent, I believe they call it, is the only one that was bought for me. The others were my husband and the boys. They will have to teach me to use. I know that's not a true Bowflex, it's a different brand, but that Bowflex-ish machine. And now, I've never worked on a weight bench except for where you sit on the end of it and do this with your legs. I've done that lots of times. But as far as like pressing the big long talking is hard today. Pressing the big barbell, I've not ever done that. Now, I've picked it up off the floor, like the deadlift. I've done that, but I've never laid down and done it. The boys promised to help me to learn how to use all those machines. And as I'm learning, I'll show you what I'm doing. Maybe you can do it too, or maybe not. Whatever you might think, gee, she's an idiot. But that's okay too. You're entitled to your opinion. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story and why my why is so important. My why is because in the past I have flirted with eating healthy carnivore. I eat carnivore-ish almost all the time. I try to limit my carbs as low as possible. If I've had 0 that day, great. That's perfect. If I have a few, then, I like, there's like whole natural foods. If I have a few of those carbs, I'm fine. If I open a bag of chips and eat them, no go, no go. I feel it the next day in my joints, and I feel bloated. I wake up even with a headache. My head feels foggy. It's not a good scenario for me. If I have gluten, I don't have like celiac disease, but I'm very intolerant to gluten. If I ate a sandwich, just say a sandwich, today, for at least 1 to 2 weeks, I'm going to have very painful joints. I'm going to have heartburn. Packaged food gives me heartburn like you would not believe. Now, I can eat like natural carbs. They don't give me heartburn at all. But if comes in a box or a bag or comes out of a factory in any shape or form, I can eat a cracker and have heartburn. I don't know why. I just know there's something in there. It might be the seed oils, but I have a reaction to it, and it starts at my stomach, and it says, "No, don't you do this." But I have done that, and I've done the diet. I'll do it really good for a month or two, and I treat it as a diet. That's the wrong mentality. I need to treat it as a way of life. This is the way of my life. My natural diet is a carnivore, carnivore-ish diet, as low carb as possible. That just needs to be my way of life. I normally do real good for a month or two. Then it's somebody's birthday. It is the 4th of July, or it is Thanksgiving, or Christmas, or Easter. And then I have a big cheat. Valentine's Day, my anniversary, I have a big cheat. And when I cheat one day, the next day I don't want to go back to the other way. I want more of that food that I cheated with. If you're one of those people that can go to a birthday party and eat a piece of chocolate cake and the next day fall right back in line, amazing. More power to you. I'm not one of them. I need to recognize that, and I need to be more careful about falling off. I have food cravings when I cheat. Now, once I'm on the carnivore diet and I do that for a few weeks, no food cravings at all, much less hunger cravings, period. I naturally don't eat breakfast. I have no breakfast desire at all, carnivore or uncarnivore. I don't love breakfast. I get up and I want my coffee, and that's it. I do put heavy cream in my coffee. Some people say I shouldn't do that. I like it that way. I'm going to do that. I don't think the heavy cream, I don't have any reaction to it, so I can tolerate it, and I'm going to do that. Adds fat to my diet. That's a good thing. As far as the exercising, I usually push until I cause an injury, and that sets me back. This round is a life change, not a fitness thing. I'm just going to be an active person the rest of my life. When I broke my shoulder, which was my last major injury, I think I fell off of a ladder once since then. But when I broke my shoulder, I had been gardening that day, and I had worked all day shoveling mulch. Loved the day, great day. I'd shoveled mulch. Well, it was getting dark, and I had just a little bit more space to shovel, and I was going to be done. I didn't want to quit till I got done. It was almost dark, and I was pushing, and I fell and got tangled up in the T-post. I was falling a lot back in those days, and exhaustion contributed to that fall. And I should have quit 30 minutes sooner, and I wouldn't have broke my shoulder. that's just something I have to keep in mind. I'm not going to push until I fall or till I hurt myself. Um, I need to be much more active. Now, my husband's had a stroke in April. He was not allowed to travel. The doctor told him no more than 30 minutes in a car, no plane, period. No traveling at all. That was the neurologist that he saw in the hospital. Luckily, he has recovered very well. He's not completely recovered, but he has gained most of his mobility back, a lot of his strength back. He's still got a little ways to go, but he doesn't have stamina yet. But that's coming. So that we were on our first trip down with stuff. I had scheduled that following Monday an appointment to get the permits for this building and have it installed. Well, I had to keep that appointment. So we were coming down on a Sunday. We got here. Oh, I kind of skipped part. Finally got here. He refused to go to the hospital. He had his dog in the truck with him, and he's like, "I'm not leaving my dog in the truck." That dog is his best friend. So we drove all the way down. Then we get here. We get in the house, and I called my daughter, said, "Okay, we've made it." And she said, "Get him to the hospital now. Now the dog is in the house. The dog is safe. I don't want to hear no excuses. Hospital now." So I go and tell him, and he's like, "No, I'm tired. I just don't feel well. I don't want to go to the hospital. I just want to lay down." Well, it took a major argument to get him to get up and go. Well, I got him up off the couch. I had a hard time getting him in the house. But then I got him up off the couch, and he fell on the floor, and I'm trying to hold him up, and I pulled something there, tore something, or anyway, that shoulder is a little bit damaged. Not like this one, but a little bit damaged. This one you can see the big scar where I had the surgery. The doctor described it as 3 separate injuries. I tore the bicep, had to have it reattached. I broke the ball in the shoulder, and I tore the rotary cuff, and I had to have it all put together. I got screws and pins and stuff in there. So I get the building built and dealt with codes. I'd never done anything like that. That had always been Randy's job. He's a contractor. But I got the building built, got that done. Well, then the house in Tennessee sold. So in order to we had to get our stuff out. You have 30 days. When you sign your contract, they take possession in like 30 days. So Randy's not able. He's not even allowed to travel with me. I have to hook to the trailer, go up there, get our stuff. I made, I think, 5 trips. In that 30 days, loaded up, brought 2 U-Hauls, the big 24-footers or 26-footers, whatever the big U-Haul is. Brought 2 of those down. Brought, we had, I think, a total of 8 cars come on trailers. We had a toy box hauler, a Harley Davidson, and all of this stuff behind me, plus way more. I've already took a lot of stuff in the house. So there was no exercising, no worrying about diet. It was just get it done. I had 30 days, had to hustle. Luckily, we have a son that lives, I don't know, 25 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that, from us here. And he came every day and checked on Randy. And Randy did go in a rehab hospital for one of my trips. He was in the hospital, so he was cared for that way while I was bringing it down. And he was in the hospital in the beginning for a little while too. So I moved all this stuff down. I went instead of my son because I had to pack it all because I wasn't ready. I'd only packed I thought I'll pack a load, we'll haul a load. I'll pack a load, we'll haul a load. I didn't expect Randy to have the stroke, and I didn't expect, we were working it together is what I thought. What do they say? If you want to make God laugh, tell him your plan. So we did all that. We brought him down. I moved it all down. The hardest part was getting somebody to haul the cars. That was Randy having this garage, his dream garage, and I got to get all the crap out of it first. But his dream, he has 2 or 3 lifts he's putting in it. I don't know what, but they poured extra concrete there, and so he bought a couple of, well, actually 3 cars. He's going to like an old El Camino, 2 old El Caminos, and an old Barracuda, all of them like 64, 68, 69, that he wants to restore because he's a kind of an old gearhead. Him and our oldest son both are what you'd call gearheads. So that was his dream, is to get this garage, and then we're going to remodel the house, and he was going to do that after he got his tools down here. So we had to move his tools, but it'll be a while before he's ready to do anything like that. So we got the garage, we got the stuff stored, and the rest will happen when it happens. That's okay. We still have one more house in Tennessee to sell. Again, that'll happen when it happens. We're just waiting. But in the meantime, I have to make the commitment to make a change, because my world was kind of turned upside down by Randy's stroke. For one thing, Randy's younger than I am. I'm 4 years older than him. I have to realize he had a stroke. He could still have another stroke. Who knows? But I'm older. We live basically the same life. I think I'm a little more active than he is, or at least I am right now. I wasn't when he was doing construction. I need to be able to take care of him, and I don't want a stroke or a heart attack, and I do have congestive heart failure. I have a lot of trouble with swelling in my feet, because if you, even now, you can see, look here how squishy, and see me push in and and today's a pretty good day. Maybe you can see on this one here, see right here the squishy right there, and it's actually pretty tight feeling. And the swelling on the outside, see the ankle parts? That's from my congestive heart failure. I don't want a heart attack. My mother had, I think, a total of 7, maybe. She had a pacemaker, and she lived to be 80, but she just kept having health issues and having to have them fixed. I don't want to do that. I want to stay healthy, stay active, enjoy my life, and not have to be going to doctors and being in the hospital and all that kind of stuff. That's not the goal of my life. And then I have a large family, really, extended family. My grandmother and grandfather, on my father's side, had 12 kids. And all of their kids had several kids. I'm one of the youngest ones in my, well, not the youngest, but one of the youngest. The ones younger than me have all passed away. A few of the older ones have passed away, but they were at a younger age than I am. But this year, one of my closest cousins, we ran around together some as kids, and when we lived close to each other, we raised our kids together. He had 2 kids, the same as my 2 oldest kids, and they would come over, the kids would play, we would play cards till midnight, 2 or 3 times a week, really. And while we were playing cards, we were eating chips and popcorn and having cakes and pies and sitting around laughing, had a great time, drinking Coke and chips all night, chip and dip and whatever junk we ate. He drank Mountain Dew, I drank Diet Coke. We would drink and snack for hours playing cards. And you just mindlessly put the food in your mouth and laugh and go on. You don't even think about, well, I've eaten a half a bag of potato chips or Doritos or whatever the snack was that day. You don't even notice. I can't mindlessly eat. He passed away this year. He passed away of stomach cancer. And he was very dear to me. And we went to his celebration of life. They didn't have a regular funeral service for him, but they had a celebration of life. We went to the community center there by where we all grew up. And I looked around at my generation. We're all first cousins, my generation of cousins. And I'm looking at them, and there's not that many left. A lot of them have passed away. And a lot of the ones that were there, they looked unhealthy. They're beautiful people. I actually have a cousin that was Miss Tennessee. She's beautiful, but she didn't look the healthiest. And I have different ones that don't look as healthy as what I would love to see them look. I love these people. I want them to be healthy, and I want them to grow old. I also just got a call from my daughter, and she was saying that one of my other first cousins, he's been put on hospice. Um, he doesn't have long. I I want long. I want to be. My grandmother was 95, and when I'm 95, I'm going to be old just like she was old when she was 95. She actually was 72 when I was born. I don't remember her anything except for just vibrant. When I was a kid, I chased around behind her on the farm. She was feeding chickens and gardening and canning stuff and walking to the neighbors and chatting with it. She was very active and vibrant when I was a kid, and she was 72 when I was born. I want to be that at 72. I want to be able to go and do. And she traveled. We have a bunch of her kids had moved to Michigan, and she had a sister in Kentucky and uh, some family in East Tennessee. We were in Middle Tennessee. And she loved to go to these places. In her 70s, she loved to travel. She loved to be active. I want that. I want to feel in my 70s the way she did. By the time I was 10 years old, she was 82. And I was still chasing her around on the farm. She would cook the most magnificent food. I want to be her. I appreciate you spending time with me. And when you're living your life, live your life in a way that you're planning for 95 and 100. We can all do it. We can do it. We just have to eat right, move, and love life. And be grateful. Attitude means a whole lot. Be grateful for what you have. Doesn't mean you're not going to have some hard times, but notice the good things that you have in life. I'm going to get me a bottle of water. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to relax for a minute. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.